When we think about mummies, our minds often drift to Egypt, pyramids, bandages, and ancient curses. But did you know that mummification isn't just an Egyptian affair? In fact, mummified bodies have been found across the globe, from the icy peaks of the Andes to the mysterious bogs of northern Europe. Sometimes mummification even happens naturally, thanks to unique climates and conditions. But what secrets do these mummies hold about the people who lived and died thousands of years ago? How did ancient communities around the world approach death and preservation? And if mummies could give advice, would they say, "Don't get wrapped up in the little things"? Join us as we unwrap the fascinating stories of mummies from around the world right here on History Galleries. And don't forget to subscribe. It's easier than remembering the recipe for ancient embalming fluid. The Tollund Man is one of the most fascinating and well-preserved mummies in history. Discovered in 1950 in a Danish peat bog, the Tollund Man dates back to the 4th century BCE. His body was so remarkably preserved by the acidic, low-oxygen environment of the bog that scientists could still see his peaceful facial expression, as if he were just taking a nap, a very, very long nap. His skin retained much of its natural texture and tone, and the preservation was so extraordinary that detailed forensic analysis was possible, revealing the circumstances of his death and providing insights into his diet and lifestyle. The Tallen Man was found lying in a fetal position with a rope noose still around his neck, suggesting that he was hanged. He died at some point between 405 and 380 BC. His last meal, a porridge made from barley, flax, and other seeds, was still in his stomach, allowing researchers to analyze the diet of people living in the Iron Age. This porridge also hinted at the agricultural practices of the time, showing that the people had access to cultivated grains. The lack of other injuries on his body suggests that his death was likely a ritualistic sacrifice, a common practice among Iron Age communities in Northern Europe. The Tollund Man was found wearing only a pointed leather cap and a belt made of animal hide. His minimal clothing has puzzled researchers, who speculate that this may have been part of the ritual, or perhaps he was stripped before the sacrifice, making him a uniquely dressed-down participant in this ancient rite. What makes the Tollund Man particularly important is not just his physical preservation, but what he reveals about the society in which he lived. Analysis of his teeth and bones indicates he was a middle-aged man, likely in his 30s or 40s, and he appears to have been in good health, which further supports the idea that he was chosen for a ritual sacrifice rather than a criminal execution. Additionally, his hair and nails were also preserved, with his short cropped hair suggesting the Iron Age people practiced grooming and personal care. The Tarum Mummies are a collection of naturally preserved bodies found in the Tarum Basin, located in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. These mummies, dating back as far as 1800 BCE, are astonishingly well preserved, largely due to the arid desert conditions in which they were buried. The dry climate, combined with the salty soil, acted as a natural preservative, allowing these mummies to remain intact for thousands of years. One of the most famous of the Tarum mummies is the Beauty of Lulan, who lived around 3,800 years ago. Her body was found in 1980, and she was so well preserved that her eyelashes, hair, and even the fine details of her facial features were still visible. Clad in a woolen cape and boots, the Beauty of Lulan was likely a prominent figure in her community, judging by the care taken in her burial. She was found with artifacts like a woven basket and an assortment of grains, possibly intended to accompany her in the afterlife. Another notable discovery among the Tarum mummies was a family burial that included a mother, father, and infant child. The child, known as the Shirchen baby, is incredibly well preserved, with bright blue woolen clothing still intact, and even a small felt hat perched on the baby's head. The Tarum mummies are particularly intriguing because of their distinctly European features, such as light hair and elongated skulls, which have puzzled researchers for years. DNA analysis has revealed that these people had mixed ancestry, including European and Siberian genes, suggesting that the Tarum Basin was a significant crossroads of ancient cultures. This has led to fascinating debates about the migration patterns and interactions of early human populations. These mummies are also notable for the textiles found with them. The clothing, made from wool and other natural fibers, is remarkably sophisticated, with complex weaves and patterns. The garments suggest that the people of the Tarum Basin had a highly developed sense-spelling. So if you ever find yourself needing a fashion consultant from 1800 BCE, the Tarum mummies might just be your go-to experts. Ötzi the Iceman is one of the most famous and well-preserved natural mummies in the world. Discovered in 1991 by two hikers in the Alps near the Italy-Austria border, Ötzi dates back to around 3300 BCE. His preservation is largely due to the freezing temperatures and ice that kept his body intact for over 5,000 years. This natural refrigeration provides a snapshot into the life of a Copper Age man, offering a wealth of information about early human societies. Ötzi was found with a variety of artifacts that give us insight into his daily life. Among these items were a copper axe, a bow and arrows, and a collection of tools and clothing. His copper axe is particularly significant, as it is one of the oldest known examples of copper metallurgy, highlighting the advanced technology of the time. Ötzi's clothing was made from a combination of animal skins and plant fibers, demonstrating the resourcefulness of early humans in adapting to their environment. One intriguing aspect of Ötzi's discovery is the evidence of his last meal. Analysis of his stomach contents revealed that he had eaten a meal of meat and grains shortly before his death. This meal provides insight into the diet of Copper Age people and suggests that Ötzi was consuming a varied and balanced diet, including grains, which were not as common in many other ancient diets. Ötzi's death was violent. He was found with multiple wounds, including an arrow wound in his back and a head injury. The exact circumstances of his death remain a mystery, but it is believed he may have been involved in a conflict before he succumbed to his injuries. His well-preserved body has also provided clues about his health, revealing that he had several ailments, including arthritis and a parasitic infection. Ötzi's dental health provides insights into his diet and lifestyle. His teeth show significant wear and cavities, which indicate he ate a lot of coarse plant materials and grains. Such a diet can contribute to dental problems over time. While there is no direct evidence of advanced dental care practices, the presence of cavities and wear suggests that his community likely used traditional remedies, such as herbal treatments, to alleviate pain and manage dental health. With teeth like that, Ötzi could have single-handedly kept an ancient dentist in business. The Inca Maiden, also known as Juanita or the Ice Maiden, is a remarkably well-preserved mummy discovered in 1995 on the Amparo volcano in Peru. This young girl, estimated to have been around 15 years old at the time of her death, was sacrificed as part of an Inca ritual around 1450 CE. Her body was found frozen in a high-altitude tomb, which preserved her remarkably well despite the passage of over 500 years. Juanita was found with a variety of ceremonial objects, including intricately woven clothing and ceremonial items such as a small ceramic vessel and a gold ornament. These artifacts not only give us insight into Inca rituals, but also provide clues about the high status she may have held in her society. Her clothing and ornaments suggest she was part of an elite group, as they were of exceptional quality and craftsmanship. Her preservation is extraordinary. The icy conditions of her burial site effectively embalmed her body, leaving her hair, skin, and even her internal organs in a state that allows for detailed study. Her facial expression, preserved in the ice, gives her a serene, almost peaceful appearance. It's as if she's taking a nap in the Andes, although her situation might not have been quite as restful. One interesting aspect of her find is the evidence of her diet. Analysis of her stomach contents revealed she had consumed a diet of maize, potatoes, and other typical Andean foods shortly before her death. This provides a snapshot of the Inca diet and offers insight into the high-altitude farming techniques used by the Incas, as maize and potatoes are staples of Andean agriculture. Her sacrifice was part of a ritual believed to ensure the favor of the gods and the well-being of the Inca Empire. This practice was not uncommon among the Incas, who performed such sacrifices to appease deities and ensure the stability of their civilization. It's thought that Juanita was selected for her purity and youth, which were highly valued in these rituals. Juanita was not alone. Two other children were also found in the same burial complex. The first, a young girl known as the Lulalaco Maiden, was discovered with signs that she had been struck by lightning after death. The second, referred to as the Lulalaco Boy, met a violent end, with evidence suggesting he was struck in the head. Both children, who were of lower status compared to Juanita, were found with offerings of food and textiles. They were positioned to face the sun, underscoring their ritual significance. Lady Di, also known as the Marquise of Di, is celebrated as one of the best-preserved mummies ever discovered. Found in the early 1970s in the Muangdui tombs of China, Lady Di lived during the Han Dynasty, around 2,000 years ago. Her preservation is nothing short of extraordinary. Her skin remains supple, her limbs are still flexible, and her internal organs are intact. This level of preservation is so remarkable that scientists could even determine her cause of death, heart disease, likely aggravated by a diet high in rich foods, as well as her sedentary lifestyle. Lady Di's tomb was an incredible archaeological find, containing over 1,000 artifacts, including silk garments, lacquerware, and even preserved food items. Among the items found were intricately designed silk clothing and luxurious lacquered containers, offering a peek into the opulence of Han Dynasty elite life. The tomb also held preserved food items, such as fruits and grains. Remarkably, an analysis of her stomach contents revealed that her last meal consisted of melons, meat, and rice, illustrating the rich diet typical of the Han Dynasty elite and highlighting the sophisticated food preservation techniques of the era. The preservation of her body is largely attributed to the meticulous burial techniques employed. Her tomb was sealed with multiple layers of charcoal, which absorbed moisture and prevented decay, and white clay, which acted as a further barrier to bacteria. This sophisticated approach to burial helped maintain the integrity of her body and artifacts over millennia. The well-preserved state of Lady Di's body enabled researchers to perform a detailed autopsy, uncovering a range of health issues she suffered from. She had a parasitic infection that likely caused gastrointestinal distress. Additionally, she had gallstones, which are painful and can cause serious health complications. Her heart was found to have significant arterial blockages, indicating she had high blood pressure and atherosclerosis, conditions that might have been exacerbated by a rich diet and sedentary lifestyle. During the early years of Communist China, the autopsy of Lady Di faced significant challenges. The preservation of her body raised concerns among scientists about potential impacts on traditional beliefs and political sensitivities. During this period, the study of such an extraordinarily well-preserved body was fraught with apprehension due to fears that it might conflict with ideological views or provoke superstitions. Ultimately, it was doctors at Hunan Provincial Medical Institute were the ones who spearheaded the autopsy. Their careful and respectful approach to the examination helped overcome the initial resistance and allowed for a thorough study of Lady Di's health and lifestyle. So which mummy story intrigued you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to History Galleries for more spine-tingling stories that are anything but wrapped up in ordinary.